Primary Office for Indigenous People. National Commission on Indigenous People. NCIP is a primary government agency that formulates and implements policies, plans, and programs for the recognition, promotion, and protection of the rights and well-being of indigenous peoples with due regard to their ancestral domain and lands, self-governance and empowerment, social justice, and human rights. National Commission on Indigenous Cultural Communities, Indigenous People. To carry out the policies herein set forth, there shall be created the National Commission on ICCs and IP. NCIP, which shall be the primary government agency responsible for the formulation and implementation of policies, plans, and programs to promote and protect the rights and well-being of the ICCs and IPs, and the recognition of their ancestral domains as well as the right thereto. Section 39. Mandate. The NCIP shall protect and promote the interests and well-being of the ICCs, IPs with due regard to their beliefs, customs, and institutions. Composition. The NCIP shall be an independent agency under the office of the President and shall be composed of 7 commissioners belonging to ICCs, IPs, one of whom shall be the chairperson. The commissioners shall be appointed by the President of the Philippines from a list of recommendees submitted by authentic ICCs, IPs, provided that the 7 commissioners shall be appointed specifically from each of the following ethnography areas: Region 1 and the Cordilleras, Region 2, the rest of Luzon, island groups including Mindoro, Palawan, Romblon, Panay, and the rest of the Visayas, Northern and Western Mindanao, Southern Eastern Mindanao, and Central Mindanao, provided that at least 2 of the 7 commissioners shall be women. Qualifications, tenure, compensation. The chairperson and the 6 commissioners must be natural-born Filipino citizens, bona fide members of the ICCIPs as certified by his tribe, experience, and ethnic affairs, and who have worked for at least 10 years with an ICCIP community, and any government agency involved in ICCIP. At least 35 years of age at the time of appointment, and must be of proven honesty and integrity, provided that at least 2 of the 7 commissioners shall be members of the Philippine Bar. Provided further that the members of the NCIP shall hold office for a period of 3 years and may be subject to appointment for another term. Provided furthermore that no person shall serve for more than 2 terms, appointment to any vacancy shall only be for the unexpired term for the predecessor, and in no case shall a member be appointed or designated in a temporary or acting capacity, provided, finally, that the chairperson and the commissioners shall be entitled the compensation in accordance with the salary standardization law. Removal from office. Any members of the NCIP may be removed from office by the President on his own initiative or upon recommendation by any indigenous community before the expiration of his term for cause and after complying with due process requirements of law. Appointment of commissioners. The President shall appoint the 7 commissioners of the NCIP within 90 days from the effectivity of this act.
Section 44, Powers and Functions. To accomplish its mandate, the NCIP shall have the following powers, jurisdiction, and function. To serve as the primary government agency through which ICCSIs can seek government assistance and as the medium through which such assistance may be extended. To review and assess the conditions of ICCs or IPs, including existing laws and policies pertinent thereto, and propose prevent laws and policies to address their role in national development. To formulate and implement policies, plans, programs, and projects for the economic, social, and cultural development of the ICCs or IPs and to monitor the implementation thereof, to request and engage the service and support of experts from the other agencies of government, to issue certificate of ancestral land domain title, subject to existing laws, to enter into contracts, agreements, or arrangement with government or private agencies, to negotiate funds and to accept grants, donations, gifts, and or properties, to coordinate development programs and projects for the advancement of the IPs and to oversee thereof, to convene periodic conventions or assemblies of IPs to review, assess, as well as propose policies of
to advise the President of the Philippines on all matters relating to the ICC's IPs and to submit within 60 days after the close of each calendar year a report of its operations and achievements.
to submit to Congress appropriate legislative proposals intended to carry out the policies under this act, to prepare and submit the appropriate budget to the office of the President, to issue appropriate certification as a precondition to the grant of permit,
Lease, grant, or any other similar authority for the disposition, utilization, management, and appropriation by any private, individual, corporate, entity, or any government agency, corporation, or subdivision thereof on any part or portion of the ancestral domain, taking into consideration the consensus approval of the ICC's IPs concerned.
to decide all appeals from the decisions and acts of all the various offices within the Commission, to promulgate the necessary rule and regulations for the implementation of this, to exercise such other powers and functions as may be directed by the President of the Republic of the Philippines, to represent the Philippine ICCs or IPs in all international conferences and conventions dealing with indigenous peoples and other related concerns. Section 45, Accessibility and Transparency, subject to such limitations as may be provided by the law or by rules and regulations. Section 46, Offices within the NCIP. The NCIP shall have the following offices which shall be responsible for the implementation of the policies hereinafter provided. Ancestral Domains Office.
The Ancestral Domains Office shall be responsible for the identification, delineation, and recognition of ancestral lands domains. It shall also be responsible for the management of ancestral lands domains in accordance with the master plan as well as the implementation of the ancestral domain rights of ICCIPs as provided in Chapter 3 of this Act. It shall also issue, upon the free and prior informed consent of the ICCIPs concerned, certification prior to the grant of any license, lease or permit for the exploitation of natural resources affecting the interest of ICC's IPs or their ancestral domains and to assist the ICC IPs in protecting the territorial integrity of all ancestral domains. It shall likewise perform such as other function as Commission may deem appropriate and necessary.
B. Office on Policy, Planning, and Research.
The Office on Policy Planning and Research shall be responsible for the formulation of appropriate policies and programs for ICC's IPs, such as, but not limited to, the development of a 5-year master plan for the ICC's IPs. Such plan shall undergo a process such that every 5 years, the Commission shall endeavor to assist the plan and make ramifications in accordance with the changing situations. The office shall also undertake the documentation of customary law and shall establish and maintain a research center that would serve as a depository of ethnographic information for monitoring, evaluation, and policy formulation. It shall assist the legislative branch of the national government in the formulation of appropriate legislation benefiting ICC's IPs.
C. Office of Education, Culture, and Health.
The Office on Culture, Education, and Health shall be responsible for the effective implementation of the education, cultural, and related rights as provided in this Act. It shall assist, promote, and support community schools, both formal and non-formal, for the benefit of the local indigenous community, especially in the areas where existing educational facilities are not accessible to members of the indigenous group. It shall administer all scholarship programs and other educational rights intended for ICCIP beneficiaries in coordination with the Department of Education, Culture, and Sports and the Commission on Higher Education. It shall undertake, within the limits of available appropriation, a special program which includes language and vocational training, public health and family assistance program, and related subjects.
The Office on Socio-Economic Services and Special Concerns.
The Office on Socio-Economic Services and Special Concerns shall serve as the office through which the NCIP shall coordinate with the pertinent government agencies specially charged with the implementation of various basic socio-economic services, policies, plans, and programs affecting the ICC's IPs to ensure that the same are properly and directly enjoyed by them. It shall also be responsible for such other functions as the NCIP may deem appropriate and necessary.
Office of Empowerment and Human Rights.
The Office of Empowerment and Human Rights shall ensure that indigenous sociopolitical, cultural, and economic rights are respected and recognized. It shall ensure that capacity building mechanisms are instituted and ICC's IPs are afforded every opportunity, if they so choose, to participate in all levels of decision making. It shall likewise ensure that the basic of human rights and such other rights as the NCIP may determine, subject to existing laws, rules, and regulations, are protected and promoted.
F. Administrative Office.
The Administrative Office shall provide the NCIP with economical, efficient, and effective services pertaining to personnel, finance, records, equipment, security, supplies, and related services. It shall also administer the Ancestral Domains Fund.
Plus Legal Affairs Office.
There shall be a Legal Affairs Office which shall advise the NCIP on all legal matters concerning ICCIPs and which shall be responsible for providing ICCIPs with legal assistance in litigations involving community interest. It shall conduct preliminary investigation on the basis of complaints filed by the ICC's IPs against a natural or theoretical person believed to have violated ICC's IP's rights. On the basis of its findings, it shall initiate the filing of appropriate legal or administrative action to the NCIP.
Other office. The NCIP shall have the power to create additional office as it may deem necessary subject to existing rules and regulations. Regional and Field Office. Existing regional and field office shall remain to function under the strengthened organizational structure of the NCIP. Consultative body. A body consisting of the traditional leaders, elders, and representatives from the women and youth sectors of the different ICC's IPs shall be constituted by the NCIP from time to time to advise it on matters relating to the problems, aspirations, and interests of the ICC's IPs. Again, I'm Milan Sureta and my co-reporter, KYLLA. That's all. Thank you.